Congratulations on putting your work out there. Don't worry if it isn't perfect. You'll rewrite it after you complete the Dramafied feedback form. But before we go there, let's explore the plot twist of your learning story by looking at how to deal with the relationships you have with critiquers that won't serve you. Sometimes a critiquer is willing to work with you beyond the initial critique. Lucky you! Ongoing support is a good thing. However, the relationship can go badly over time. Let's look at possible toxic relationships that will not serve you as you develop your work. Angel will serve as the perpetrator of toxic relationships. She means well, but she can be a major pain in the ass. Flaky relationship. When the critiquer says they want to help, but they are constantly late or cancel at the last minute, you have to decide if this is a critiquing relationship worth pursuing. You can learn to manage and overcome your own resistance to opportunities for feedback, but you can't change someone else's behavior. Such is life. The situation isn't about you or your work, it's about them. Worship relationship. You give the critiquer the authority because you are convinced everything they say will help you rewrite. Critiquers who create this type of relationship want your adoration. Your work comes in a distant second. You can choose to change the nature of the relationship, but even with your best efforts, the dynamics might not change. It's normal to look up to critiquers for guidance, but that doesn't mean they know more than you do about your work. Parent-child relationship. In this relationship, the critiquer is more concerned about you than your work. They focus on protecting you rather than helping you, but that doesn't mean you have to do whatever it takes to garner their approval. In this relationship, you'll hear lots of shoulds and musts. These words reinforce the need for the critiquer to see themselves as older and wiser than you. Even if they are, this type of relationship can restrict your abilities to think for yourself. Martyr relationship. The critiquer continually reminds you of sacrifices they are making to help you. When you show appreciation, they focus on themselves. Even if not visible, the back of their hand is stapled to their forehead. No one wants to feel like they're in obligation, especially when asking for feedback. Asking for help is hard enough without a critiquer who whines about how hard it is to give it. Their feedback may be helpful, but at a high cost to you. Sadist-masochist relationship. If you've ever been bullied, harassed, or abused, this relationship will reinforce your worst fears. You don't need to be beaten up to break through to new thinking about your work. The critiquers in this type of relationship relish criticizing both you and your work. They feel better when you feel worse. This is unhealthy for them and dangerous for you. Change agent relationship. In this relationship, the critiquer demands you change your writing process. They want to shape you into what they believe is a real writer. In some cases, they believe you need to be just like them. Just like you can't change the way others behave, no one can change your behavior or your writing process. That's up to you. When you have the confidence to make your own decisions, your work will move forward. Competitor relationship. In this relationship, the critiquer either directly competes with you or compares your first draft to the final work of others. They prefer winning over being right or correct. You can't lose a competition if you don't play the game. If the critiquer compares you to another writer, enjoy it and ignore any caveats they may also include. Vampiric relationship. Some critiquers feed off the feedback process in unhealthy ways. They find your vulnerabilities and use them to insert themselves into your process, get inside your head, and they won't let go. In this relationship, you can find yourself unable to move your work forward without checking out your thinking with a critiquer. They feed off this because they need to be integral to your success. In other words, they suck. Psychoanalytic relationship. You know you're in this type of relationship when you talk more about yourself than your work. Hearing feedback makes you vulnerable enough without getting distracted by someone telling you why you feel the way you do instead of critiquing your work. Venturing into your personal psychology is not only inappropriate, it can be dangerous. If you need a therapeutic relationship, go to a therapist. Getting feedback is about your work, not you. With toxic relationships, you are given a choice: walk away or set better boundaries. Let's explore how to set boundaries with critiquers, including writing instructors who give you feedback. Negotiate the process. You can do this in a relationship with a particular critiquer or for writing groups. Establish a timeline complete with a schedule of meetings and goals for those meetings. This removes a lot of the fear about what will happen and forces you to meet deadlines. Acknowledge your triggers. Before you get feedback, reflect on your emotional triggers and defense mechanisms. During the critiquing relationship, you will likely need to revisit acknowledging these triggers. You may not always succeed immediately, but in time you will. That's what developing new habits is all about. One of the goals of the Dramafied Feedback Form is to help you do exactly this. Permit yourself to feel. With some critiquers, expressing how you feel will work for you. With others, you may need to hold onto your feelings until a given session is complete. You need to let yourself feel what you feel before you think about how you feel. You know how you are. Consider your past and present. You know yourself better than anyone else does. You know where you've been, what you've learned, and the successes you have accomplished. You might want to use objects or symbols to remind yourself while entrenched in the drama that is getting feedback. Assert your needs. Whether appropriate or not, let the critiquer know what your needs are. They may not be able to meet them, but that information alone may help you hear and think about the feedback you are given. Thank with grace. Those who are willing to take the time and energy to give you feedback are worthy of thanks. Even if the feedback isn't useful, they put in the effort. So yes, thank them. Set internal boundaries. This one is tricky because you are asked to replace unhealthy mental and emotional habits and create new ones. Sometimes you are your own worst enemy. Avoid obsessing. Don't argue with a critiquer over details or disagreements. Hear what they say and move on. Again, the Dramafied Feedback Form can help you distance your emotional self from thinking about how to integrate feedback. Learn to say no. Whether directly or indirectly, you are allowed to reject any feedback you receive. You may not want to tell the critiquer this to avoid getting into arguing. Claim your work. Your work is yours. Don't let anyone rewrite it for you. A critiquer might help you with grammar, but don't let them change your intention. Keep your work yours. You have managed toxic relationships throughout your life in your own way. The critiquer-writer relationship is no different. With that in mind, your assignment is to critique at least one of the other essays posted. Make at least one constructive. Make additional critiques poorly stated ones. You can also mix them up. You can use the Dramafied Critique Form or any format you choose. Talk at you soon.